just going to be talking to you about why I chose the 6D Mark II, and the first reason you're going to see is the quality of this video. So let's get into it. Okay, so like I said before, I've been shooting with this Canon 7D Mark I for the past 5-6 years, something like that. And basically, it was just time for me to upgrade. Needed a new camera, put a lot of research into what kind of cameras suited what I was doing, and it did really come down to 6D Mark II, 5D Mark IV, and one of the Sony A series cameras. I wasn't willing to switch to Sony. Probably the more superior and future-proofed camera, because mirrorless is going to be the future. But honestly, I'm kind of invested into Canon at the minute. So unless Canon start, well, it's not unless, when Canon start bringing their mirrorless cameras out, I will probably make some sort of transition that direction, to be honest. Anyway, back to what I'm talking about, the Canon 6D Mark II. So, I'm just going to let you know what I've got so far with the Canon 7D Mark I. I had 18 megapixel sensor. It was a crop sensor camera. I wish I did have a beastly 8 frames a second. Was a sports camera, but I was running on dual digit 4 processors. I had 19 autofocus points, and I think it just had center cross types. I'm not sure. Had the standard 3-inch LCD on the back. Was fully weather sealed, never had an issue with it. Happy to take that camera anywhere I went, and obviously it was a full HD video recording, and it had the mic input, so it did serve a good purpose for me when I started looking into YouTube videos and things like this. But switching over to the Canon 6D Mark II and been using it for the last week and a half now, oh, I'm in love. So for me, any sort of upgrade was going to be a huge leap in quality and functionality for me. So I saw a lot of videos out here on the YouTubes and on the interwebs, and basically a lot of people do slate the 6D Mark II for not being as much as it could have been. But then when your Canon and 5D Mark IV and the 1DX Mark II are your flagship cameras, and they're doing certain things, then this just drops in behind them in that level. You know, you can't have all your top range cameras doing exactly the same thing, because then you might as well just have one camera doing it all. So it's just clever marketing. It suits my purpose, this camera. Love it, love it, love it. And one way I'm going to debunk all of that rubbish, like I told you before, and why this can be a professional camera, is by how you use it. So for me, I don't use this camera in low light situations. I don't tend to use any of my cameras in low light situations unless I'm purposely going to a gig, and 9 times out of 10 the lighting's pretty decent anyway, so no big deal, right? So I've always got some sort of flash on the go, some sort of fill coming in, or some sort of decent lighting where I'm surrounding myself. Because I like to try and get the best quality images I can. So it's not just the equipment I use, it's the environment that I'm setting up as well. So hopefully you can see that in the images. So I want to show you now, and I'm just going to tell you right from the bat, if you're thinking about getting a Canon 6D Mark II and you want to go into some sort of professional photography, this camera will serve you a purpose. It is a professional camera. It's a full frame sensor. It's got great megapixels. It's a 26 megapixel camera. It's got great autofocus. It doesn't have all the autofocus points that the 5D Mark IV has, but it's got enough. Yes, they are cropped into the middle, so where you're looking now, it's probably about here that you can put focus on. But it's just a thing for you to learn focus recompose as well as a skill, because just because you can't focus there, it doesn't mean that you can't take a sharp image. You can still learn focus recompose as one of your skills as a photographer. and that's something for another day as well. So what I'm doing here, I'm just mentally creating some content for you guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you now an image. This image here was taken last Thursday, so I don't know what day it is that this is coming out, to be honest, but it was taken at least 2 weeks ago, just for continuity. This is one of the girls that I go on my course with at uni, and she was just walking towards us as we were setting up to do some photos, and she had all the gear. She was walking through some shadows, and I just thought straight away, I'm going to keep this underexposed. I'm going to take this image, I can use this later on for this particular video. And basically, have a look at what you can see. Now, this is the final image, so this is what I came up with at the end. Personally, it's not the best photo, but what you will see is this. This was before, and now you can see what it. Just ignore this dynamic range bollocks that keeps coming round about. Oh, it doesn't have as much dynamic range as the 80D, or oh, it doesn't have as much dynamic range as the Canon 5D Mark IV. It doesn't matter, because if you're taking pictures that are that far underexposed, you're never going to get a really good image anyway. You'll have acceptable imagery, but you should be learning to just get your settings right just first time round, and giving yourself 1.5 stops of adjustment in exposure, because realistically that's acceptable to me. What I've learned over years is, if I'm having to adjust more than 1 to 2 stops of exposure on my image, I fucked up. I should know by now how to get the right exposure on my image, and if I'm not doing it, and I've got a camera that's all singing or dancing, I still can't do it, then I'm the screw up, and I don't deserve to be taking professional photos, do I? Anyway, that's another rant anyway. So anyway, you look at this picture and you can see what you can bring back from it. I mean, we've really kept some sort of separation in there. I haven't done much. It's only been done in Lightroom. Haven't gone to Photoshop and done anything fancy on it, because I'm sure if I went into Photoshop and messed about with the raw file even more, it would look like it was just taken right first time round. But I want to show you what you can do if you do find yourself in a situation where you're taking a quick snap and you don't actually remember to get all your settings correct on there. So you might have adjusted your shutter speed to capture the motion and put some depth fill in, but you thought, oh crap, I've forgotten in my ISO. Now I've got a really underexposed photo. But no, don't fear, you can now pull that back. You can use 16 Mark II to do that. The 16 Mark II can do that much pulling back of those shadows and bringing those. All I think I've done here is bring out the whites and the shadows in this image. I'm pretty sure that's all I've done, because I'm talking off the top of my head. I've got a note of the image right next to me, and I'll be talking off the top of my head from what I remember what I've done with these images. So that's one. Editing a picture that is already sound in quality is this next one here. This is my brand new baby cousin Dion, and he is hella cute, to be honest. Look at him. But this image here was this to start with. Now, I tend to put some sort of like, make it look a little bit washed out. I do like that look when it comes to stuff like that, but this is it's like a baby portrait, and I caught him sneezing. It was the best thing ever. Caught him sneezing, and I just, well proud of myself, because when he's 18, plastered on a wall somewhere. Anyway, so yeah, so with this image, I literally just did a small bit of tweaking to the, I did a little bit of tweaking to the clarity, just brought it down a tiny little bit just to make his skin look a little bit more softer, because you know sometimes babies do get a bit drier skin because they're still adjusting to the world, aren't they? But added a little less saturation into there, and I just a few tweaks, and you know, just a few slight tweaks, and you can get a really nice picture that someone will be happy to put on their wall. I've seen far worse baby photos done in studios, to be honest, but there are a lot better out there too. And then also, this is my last example as well. This is for when you've set up your shot and you've completely misjudged your white balance. So here I've got a very yellow colour cast on this image. I'm showing you the original image first, and whereas on the first two I just showed you the end result. So I ended up with a really yellowy, nasty looking image. It just didn't look right, and I was looking at it, I was like, oh my god, these people called me in to take these pictures of some details for them so they could put them on their website, and I forgot to change my white balance as I moved from outside to inside. So it doesn't matter, because when you're working with that many megapixels, that much of a good sensor, brand new camera, then you can adjust that white balance very easily, especially with the raw files. Raw files are really good for tweaking that white balance, and you don't see much destruction of your image, if any at all. Just doesn't happen. So I've tweaked the white balance up, tweaked a little bit of the exposure, and just left it at that. And it's fine. I think might have cropped it a little bit, tiny little crop. Not keen on it, but sometimes it works. And that's all. And it's a usable image for what they wanted. They didn't want nothing flashy, they didn't want nothing like that, just wanted to put it onto their website as a detail image, because they're a very creative nursery and things like that. And there you have it. It's that simple. It's that easy to tell that the 6D Mark II is a professional level camera. So if you are looking into it and you're seeing a lot of reviews that are telling you that, oh, this isn't a pro camera, ignore it, because it is. I have seen people doing wedding shoots on Nikon 5300s and producing some beautiful images for people, right? So just bear in mind that old cliche of it's not the camera, it's the photographer, which is completely true, right? And especially these days, with how good entry-level cameras can be, mobile phones are making people photographers nowadays. So if you're actually considering buying the 6D Mark II and you're only thinking about the image quality that you're going to get from it, you're going to be great. I mean, 26 megapixels is way more than enough. I've been shooting with 18 for the past 6 years, and no one will be able to tell from the photography that I produced. So for me now, all I know is that I can maybe crop some more, because I never used to crop. I can get more sharpness, more detail into that image. So when I'm editing, I've got more detail to play with as well. So the 6D Mark II is a professional camera, and that's why I bought it. I'm a professional photographer, I have professional gear. So all my lenses are pro level lenses, so it's L lenses, it's Sigma Art lenses. That's all I'm playing around with here, guys, and I keep it very basic and simple. I like to keep my gear light. I like to keep it to what I need it to do. I don't invest in a lot of different lenses for different jobs, because I've got one very versatile lens, which is my 24-105. I've got my 50mm prime, which I think is perfect, and I've got a 70-200 zoom lens, which is just enough zoom for me. And if I really need to get more, then luckily I do have a digital crop built in my camera. It takes away a little bit of the megapixels, but I can deal with that. Might take a bit of image quality away, but I can deal with that, because I know I'm sacrificing something to do something out of what I would normally do. But there you have it, 6D Mark II professional camera. If you're not sure still, leave a comment below. Don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed what you've listened to and seen what you can do, and also press that subscription button down there and the little bell thing, because then you'll be notified when another video of mine comes out, and then you can carry on watching and enjoying this brilliant Black Country accent, by the way. Not enough of this on the internet, tell you that right now. And some more information on photography. See ya.